Hello everyone and welcome to Whiskey Wars, and for today's video we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to run through with you guys my best whiskies of 2025 so far, and I thought it'd be a nice video to do since we've just approached the halfway mark through the year, and so these are my favourite ones so far. So kicking things off, let's go to Campbelltown in Scotland, because that has been a region that I've bought quite a few bottles in this year. And this whiskey was so good that I actually bought a second bottle, and this is the progress on the second bottle, and that is the Longrow. Now, what I have come to realise with this whiskey is it's a very batchy whiskey. This is very different to the one I had previous, and I do actually prefer the previous one to this one, which seems to be a little bit more sherried than the one prior. Nonetheless, it's a whiskey that I just love. In fact, this might come out just before my Springbank 10 review, but trust me on this one. Well, actually, the Springbank 10 it's a lot of people's favourite whiskey, but for me, this is cheaper and more easily available, but better, substantially better, in my opinion. So Longrow, it is bottled by Springbank, but this is their more heavily peated release, and it's double distilled instead of 2.5 times distilled. Bottled at 46% ABV, this whiskey is insane. I've also recently posted a neck pour video on this whiskey if you want to go check that out. So number one, Longrow. I do actually have a couple of special mentions for Campbelltown that I also bought and love. And the first one I'll just touch on. It's a whiskey that I didn't think I'd like as much as I did, because I had the more bourbon heavy batch 1 and really liked it. Now that I've had the sherried batch, which is everything from batch 2 to 5 and probably beyond, I actually prefer it to the first batch, and now it is one of my favourite whiskies, especially for the price. It's a blended whiskey, but it's also from Springbank, and that is the Campbelltown Lock. Amazing whiskey. 46%, just like the Longrow, but this one has whiskies from all of Campbelltown, so it has some Kilkerran and Glen Scotia in there, as well as everything from Springbank. So you have Hazelburn, which is their unpeated, Springbank, but also Longrow. Fantastic whiskey. I do believe, and I have heard, it's predominantly Kilkerran, but it is A1 liquid. Thirdly, and lastly from Campbelltown, just a special mention, mainly for a whiskey that surprised me and was way better than what I was expecting, but also for value for money. So this is £50. This is also £50, but it's cask strength, guys. And that's the Kilkerran heavily peated. It's rumoured to be between 5 and 7 years of age. It's a heavily peated Kilkerran bottled at cask strength. This one is 57.9%, it's batch 11. Batch 12 has recently come out. But this one was a fantastic whiskey. The only slight downside to this that I have, which is why I'm opting for the Longrow as my choice from Campbelltown, is there does seem to be quite a strong note of eucalyptus. I love medicinal notes, but eucalyptus, slightly different. It's not my favourite note, and I do get it in this whiskey, but it's still fantastic and well worth checking out. Okay, let's try something unpeated now. And this was actually a whiskey that I just demolished in a couple of weeks. I'm not proud to say that, by the way, but it was really that good. During the springtime, I just raced through it. Having said that, now that it's summertime, I do just want to add a word of caution to this whiskey, because it is a little bit woody and dry and spicy. And in the spring I didn't really notice it, but in the summer heat I notice it a lot more, and that's the Tobermory 12. So I picked this up for £35 on offer. I think it retails for £40 to £45. It's 46.3%, obviously a Tobermory whiskey, unpeated, fantastic whiskey, genuinely. 100% buying this whiskey again. In fact, the whiskies that I recommend, I'm probably going to be buying all of them again at some point, but certainly these two. Incredible. I get a lovely fresh peach and orchard fruit note in here, and it's quite grassy too. It's like a spring meadow. Beautiful whiskey. Okay, in number 3, we've gone for an Island, we've gone for a Campbelltown. Let's go for a Highland whiskey. And it's going to be the oldest whiskey. It's 14 years of age. Also bottled at 46%. A recurring theme, it seems. Sublime whiskey, but again, value for money. This whiskey retails, now it's at £54, but I did pick it up for 45. I do recommend going for a sale, as always. This long row, never on sale, so just pay RRP. It's going to be the Clynelish 14. So I think I do prefer Oban 14, but I love this whiskey, and this is certainly the better value for money because the Oban's overpriced. This whiskey is a more fruity style to the Oban. So it does have that touch of salinity there, that coastal element that's so good. But what I love about this is its waxy nature, a touch of smoke coming from that wick. It's like candle wax with the wick. So just that faint touch of smoke, but it's got a really waxy texture and a lot of red fruits. So very different to the Oban, but similar in the sense of it matches the salinity, that touch of smoke, and this really nice toffee presence. Number 4, I've actually got 2 independent bottlings out of the 6 I'm going to show you today. The next 2 will be the independent bottlings, which is something that I've started doing this year and I've never done before. The reason for that was purely I want to review whiskies that are easily accessible to everyone. And if you go for something that's core range, you can recommend it again and again and people can see it a couple of years later and still go out and buy it. But I have switched to some independent bottlings just because you can get fantastic value for money. And speaking of value for money, I've got an independent bottling here that is from Living Souls. It's bottled at 46.3% ABV, just like the whiskey that it contains the majority of, which is one of my favourite whiskies of all time. I bought this whiskey for my 30th earlier this year and loved it, and then a week later I saw this come on offer and I heard about this whiskey and I thought I've just got to buy it. So the whiskey that I love is the Lech 18, but I'm not featuring it in today's video because of its price. It's £95 at RRP. I picked it up for 81, but it still doesn't, it pales in comparison to the value of this bottling, which is £55 RRP. And that is the Living Souls 99 and 1. So this whiskey is meant to be 99%, hence the name, Lech 18, with 1% 3-year-old grain. So you're getting a fantastic value here because they can't list it as an 18-year-old since it does contain some 3-year-old. So they've gone for a non-age stated logo instead of putting 3 years on, obviously. Don't, however, listen to people. Well, actually you can do what you want, but my strong advice is going to be don't listen to people that tell you this whiskey tastes exactly the same as the Lech 18, because trust me, I've had them both side by side, both fresh bottles, and there's key substantial differences between the two. I actually think though that some people could prefer this bottling to the Lech 18. I'm not one of them. I prefer the Lech 18. It's this saturated, wet, almost rotting wood logs that I get in the Lech 18. It comes across more dense, richer and more saturated, and I just love it. This one comes across more prickly and spicy. So it does list the note of chili pepper in the Lech 18, and I don't really get it, if I'm being honest. That changed with this though. I really do get the chili pepper. And I can only assume that comes from the 3-year-old grain being sharp and bright, in mixing with this whiskey. So it has so much of the Lech 18 in there that it's just amazing. But that it is more prickly, it is more vivacious and excited as a whiskey. I don't like it as much, but it's still gonna heavily remind you of Leche 18 because it still has those dense, rich, sherried, peated notes. And it's just a sensational whiskey. At £55, guys, more people need to get this. It might be hard to get your hands on outside of the UK, I'm not too sure. In the UK, I've been surprised, it keeps going out of stock and back into stock. So I don't know how much they have left of it, but I'm low on both of these bottles, so I might have to pick up another bottling of this. And if I'm being totally honest with you guys, I don't see a need to buy the Leche 18, even though it's a better whiskey, purely because of that price difference. If you can afford the price difference, go for the Leche 18. If not, this is incredible. And I've spoken about this a lot, I'm not going to speak about it too much more on the differences in the notes, because I have a video that should be coming out in the next few days, or it has recently come out, I don't know, it depends on the order that I post these. But I have filmed it and it has been edited and it's ready to post between this and the Leche 18, so do check that one out if this interests you. Talking fast, it takes it out of you. Okay, 4 done, number 5 coming up, the penultimate whiskey. It is an independent bottling like I did say, but very different, no peat. It's going to be a Speyside whiskey, and I bought this whiskey purely because of the value, but also I've never had a Macallan before, and they can't list Macallan on this whiskey, but it's called the M, the Speyside M, so you can safely assume that it is Macallan. It's 14 years of age, it's by Signatory vintage, so it's not their 100 proof series. It's bottled at 48.2% ABV, and it's been filled in first fill and second fill Oloroso sherry butts. Natural colour, non-chill filtration, 14 years of age. This whiskey is really good. As you can see, heavy dent in the bottle. And it's my first experience with Macallan because their whiskies are so expensive, and as you guys know, this is a value for money channel. I don't go for heavily overpriced whiskies. A week after buying this whiskey, it went out of stock and it was replaced with a 15-year-old whiskey at the same price. So I think it was £55. I think I got it on a sale for 48, 47. But if you can add the extra year and get the 15-year-old, why not for the same money? Really, really nice. I think it's had a mixed reception, but I've really enjoyed it, and I've actually filmed a whiskey war with a 15-year-old Speyside whiskey that's really popular and value for money, and this is a lot cheaper and I think better. Okay, finally for my 6 bottles that are going to be my favourite and a couple of special mentions of 2025 so far. It's going to be a bourbon, and I wasn't going to include it, but I did want to throw a bourbon in because I actually bought this at Christmas, so a week before 2025, but I'm including it in this video. It's barrel proof, it's a really good whiskey, and it got a lot better after its neck pour, and that is the Elijah Craig small batch barrel proof. Now this is batch A123, bottled at 62.8% ABV, and it is a very, 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 very nice bourbon. Have to say, I still prefer the Wild Turkey rare breed, but it's still really, really good. I do want to mention though that the C batches seem to get the clamour and the hype. This is an A batch. I think the B batch seems to be the least favoured of the 3, so maybe go for a C batch if you can get your hands on one. That would probably be the way to go. But still, a really, really nice bourbon, and just something that I love to crack open at Christmas time. Those Christmas spices just come into another level at Christmas time, especially at cask strength. Really, really good stuff. Okay guys, these are my 6 bottlings, my best 6 of 2025, including value for money. I've had, like I said, the Leche 18 and a couple of others that are more expensive and really good, but I've gone for a value for money lineup so far into this year. As always, the full video will be released at the end of the year. I really recommend trying out any of these whiskies if you can get your hands on them. They're really, really good stuff. So we have, just finally, a Highland whiskey, the Clynelish 14, an Island unpeated whiskey. The Clynelish is also unpeated, I believe, but does have a bit of smokiness to it. Tobermory 12. Genuinely, I've got a whiskey war with the Arran 10 coming out, and it does really well. It is really good. Slept on. The Arran 10 gets all the credit, and it's fantastic, but this is also fantastic. But just be wary of that extra bit of woodiness in this whiskey. It does add a bit of spice. Longgrow from Campbelltown. Please try it. Barrel proof bourbon with the Elijah Craig. We have, and then 2 independent bottlings. We have the Macallan 14 Speyside M and Living Souls 99 on 1, which is Leche 18, 99% of it, plus 1% 3-year-old grain. Worth mentioning, fantastic value for money, but does taste different to the Leche 18. Not hugely. If you tried this, you could be lulled into thinking it was Leche 18 if you just poured some and you didn't see the bottle. But if you have them both side by side, you can clearly tell the different whiskies. Okay guys, the first list video of 2025. If you did enjoy the video, please click that like button. Please let me know in the comments down below, guys, what your favourite whiskies of the year are so far. I'm always interested in knowing. And please make sure, if you haven't already, please do click that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you all for the next Whiskey War.